Hey guys, big fan of the show, big football fan. I just have one question. What does the NFL stand for?
Dan, thank you for our first ever video question. Just to answer it really quickly, NFL stands for the National Football League, which, if you know, since you're such a big football fan, you should probably know that. Anyways,
Speaking of football, we've got a big football show coming up. We're talking obviously the big news with Colin Kaepernick not standing up during the national anthem. We've got some NFL headlines. We've got some Patriots roster projections, and we've got a little bit of baseball talking about the Red Sox. Are they slumping or are they surging? That and much more coming up right now.
see you soon.
Welcome to the Lateral, episode number 6. We are
Hello.
back. We are sort of professional looking, as
Good
you can see
evening.
from producer Ravi. Unprofessional looking,
Stay classy.
as you can see from host Krishna.
My computer shrunk.
And sports looking with me, with my Celtics shirt. But don't worry.
You're a Celtics fan?
We're not talking anything about basketball or the Celtics today.
Not this week, no.
So guys, how you doing? What's
Great.
new?
Great.
Nothing much. I got a haircut. I don't know if you guys can tell.
Actually, I got a haircut, but no one noticed.
I haven't shaved my face in like a week.
That is kind of not new. That's old.
It's disgusting.
'Cause your
Something
beard's
new,
old.
something old. Is that a thing? Anyway, let's
Sure.
talk about the major event.
The
Let's,
major-
let's
so-
just jump right into it because
there's-
I'm ready to fight you
there's
both.
there's a big story. There's a big story that happened this past week in NFL preseason action, week 3. Now, first off, let's just say when they say nothing exciting happens in preseason action, this proves contrary to that.
Do you?
Because this
well,
is exciting. Well, it's not.
well,
exciting,
I mean,
but
it doesn't have much to do with the actual game. The actual
it has
sport
absolutely
game.
nothing to do with the sport.
Right. So I wouldn't say that.
But let's get to it.
Yeah.
You've all probably heard by now, but the San Francisco 49ers quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, was caught on camera against the Green Bay Packers not standing during the national anthem, sitting down. Apparently, he's actually done this in the previous 2 preseason games, but no one noticed because he wasn't in uniform. So he's been doing this. He said it was in protest to how people of color and minorities have been treated in the United States.
Specifically, isn't it Black Lives Matter?
I don't know if he said that specifically.
Yeah, I don't think I don't. I'm not.
I don't think he
believe
named.
it wasn't.
I don't think he named a movie.
Yeah,
He
he's
didn't
not.
name
He's
a
not
movie. Okay.
naming a
He
specific.
just said
Yeah.
he just said he sees there's a racial divide and unfairness, and that he will continue to do that to protest it.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of people that have come out on both sides, and I can we can go through the list. I know Alex Boone, one of his former teammates, completely ripped him. Other celebrities and and such have come out and ripped him. Some have come out in his support, saying, well, Muhammad Ali in 1968 refused to go to Vietnam in a similar type of protest. Other athletes have done similar types of things. Also, a fun fact: it didn't count up until 2009. Players were in the locker rooms when the national anthem was done, and they came out after. But they changed that in the NFL.
So before 2009, there would have been no.
There would have been no
opportunity.
there would have been no controversy. So.
Oh, you.
So let's get right into it. Where do you guys kind of fall? There's a lot of positions to fall in this.
It's tricky. I think.
Is it his American right? Freedom of speech to
Yes.
to do that?
Yes.
Is it unpatriotic? And does
Yes.
this make him a bad person for not doing this?
So I think we gotta add some clarity. I think to the whole situation really quickly. He in his explanation he said he supports the troops.
Yes.
But he wants to use his platform as as a professional athlete who has a following to, as he would say, raise awareness to what he calls, or what many other people would call, a discrepancy in, how race is treated in this country. I think specifically he used the word, dead black people in the streets. And people getting away with it, and I think clearly he has the right to do it because it's in the Constitution,
Freedom of speech.
freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
So clearly he has the right.
But I guess then what is the what am I saying here? Is the counter argument to that with the whole freedom of speech? He is a public figure, and
Sure.
is there a certain unspoken rule, if you will?
Definitely an
as
unspoken rule in
as
the
a-
NFL specifically.
as a
Yes.
public figure that you are supposed to?
Kind of toe the line a little bit.
Right.
Exactly.
For sure.
But then once again, you right back, it's like, well, freedom of speech.
To add further context, the NFL is taking no action against Colin Kaepernick. They said it's his right to. There's no law in the NFL that says he has to.
They're encouraged, but they're not required.
Right. It's encouraged but not required. Now, could this rule change? I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes
a big thing.
mandatory.
Just to
Really?
avoid the controversy.
just to avoid the controversy. 'Cause the NFL
Really?
wants to avoid.
Is there not
avoid
that much
controversy.
going on that one person not standing up is like the big thing,
It's
and
a hot-
everyone has to?
But it's a hot button issue though because of
what's going on right
everything else that's going on
Well,
outside of football.
Here's another question though: are we sure that he legitimately is? I'm using my platform to bring awareness and so forth. He's saying all that stuff. Are we sure
Sure.
though? Like, I don't know. Maybe he was just caught, and now he's trying to
No.
come up with like a.
No.
Actually,
No, he has
I'm
a-
doing
he has a
this
long-
for.
Yeah, so Colin Kaepernick has a very active Twitter account,
Okay.
and social media presence, and he's
So it's not that he was just caught, and he's
no.
like, "Uh-oh."
His legs are tired.
He's
Think.
certainly-
I know.
He certainly stated that this has been his intent. This was his intention in doing that.
For a long time.
Okay,
And whatnot.
okay.
And I don't think he doesn't take it lightly. And I think he knew obviously there would be backlash, but he wants to start this conversation by doing it.
But the
Or
conversation
continue the
seems to have, instead of focusing on what he's saying, the conversation now
Absolutely.
has become, "You should stand." No, he should
it's
sit.
what he did right or wrong.
yeah,
Right.
The
So
conversation's turned into something.
I would
Yeah.
I would agree that he wants to raise awareness. There might be better ways to do it.
Yeah.
We have this thing called the Players Tribune that Derek Jeter started.
Yeah.
It's a great platform for athletes to actually voice their thoughts.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
read. It has a wide following.
Kevin Durant announced his decision
Right.
on July 4th about which team he was going to.
Right.
And actually, talking before the show, Sarah, who's on the LuZo cast, brought up a great point that, seeing what Kaepernick did, like, okay, he has the right to do that. But I think, like you just said, this guy gets paid millions and millions of dollars. There's a better way to do it than kind of sitting down at the national anthem. And I tend to agree with that, too. I think what Kaepernick's doing is a good thing. I think we talked about this last week with Carmelo Anthony, right? Being one of the most active vocal players in the NBA on different types of issues.
Right.
Athletes with the being public figures and such are able to bring awareness to different issues. It's what Kaepernick is bringing up is an issue. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. I think, like you guys just said, what he's done has taken away from the actual issue itself. I think that there must be a better way, because we're still not getting into that discussion.
Yeah, it's all about.
It's all
does
about,
he even
is
have,
he
like,
disrespectful?
should he be doing that?
Exactly.
And Alex Boone, his former player with the.
Now with the Vikings.
Now with the Vikings,
Yes.
the reason that he's upset by it, and a lot of people would say this, is that he has a brother who's a Marine, and he looks at that sort of kind of a protest like
as disrespectful
to the people who give their
troops and
lives to
stuff.
protect the very
Right,
freedoms
right.
that allow him to protest,
Right.
the national anthem.
Yeah. It's a lot of things related to the flag and the national anthem and
Right.
such are very associated with the military.
Now, right,
Here.
and now Kaepernick,
So-
Kaepernick kind of explained it a little bit. Is that he specifically maybe chose that because he doesn't want to support a country that oppresses black people. I think that's almost his exact words. And I guess the best way to protest a country that, in his mind, is has black people as a second tier class of citizen, is to protest directly the very symbol of that country, which is the flag and the national anthem, right? National anthem is what, to kind of pay your respects to the flag and what it stands for.
Probably would have just been easy if he just stopped paying his taxes.
NFL
Well, no,
players
because then he
go
can just
to-
go to jail for
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
Wesley Snipes.
So he,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
Tax evasion.
If he's true, I don't. Maybe I'm misquoting him, but didn't he say something along the lines of? He said something powerful enough where I'm not gonna recognize or respect a country that aren't equal and so forth. Okay, so sure, you're not going to do the national anthem, but at the same time, if you are so against whatever and you want to protest, then I don't know, don't pay your taxes, go to jail, and use that as a platform.
Well,
to
and here's
protest.
another thing. So you're not going to do that, but you're still going to take millions of dollars for America's sport and play it and
There you
whatnot.
go.
If you want to do a real protest,
Yeah, he picked the
you know what I mean?
easiest way to
It's-
protest.
Yeah, it's not a hard.
Yeah.
I mean, and the historical context, like bringing up Muhammad Ali. Yeah, he didn't go to Vietnam and then he went to jail.
Yeah, he
for
paid.
it.
He
paid a
he
big
protested
price.
the right
He
way.
missed some of the prime years in boxing. He
Yep.
literally took that sacrifice for that protest and whatnot. So,
Kaepernick, I guess, might be like, is obviously it's not the same level.
Of
But
course.
he's definitely maybe has cost himself contract and endorsement dollars. perhaps.
Right.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a sacrifice, but
right.
I really wish if you want to protest, you put it in words and get it out there. You can do that, and you have a following. Give people directly what your thoughts are. Like you said, like the action of protesting the national anthem takes away completely from the issue. He's trying to raise awareness to it, and it's all
Yeah.
about him now. It's not
Right,
even about
right, and it's like Arjuna
Lives
said,
Matter.
the national anthem, the flag, all of that. It's very symbolic of the military as well, and most people right off the bat, that's what they associate with.
Sure.
And I can't believe he went into it thinking that he wasn't going to get this kind of backlash.
I think
he was
knew.
totally
He
expecting.
totally
it.
knew it.
He didn't think about all of his alternatives. I don't
Right.
think.
Exactly.
Or maybe he did. Maybe it's just like I want to cause this much backlash.
Right.
But again, I think it defeats the purpose of what he was trying to accomplish.
Yes,
Completely defeats
So
it.
speaking of backlash, we actually got a fan question related to
Yes,
this,
we do.
which we're going to bring up. And just before we get into the question, if any of you out there have any questions throughout the week, sports related, please tweet at us at LuZo Productions. You can check our Facebook page, send it to us. at
Or
LuZo Productions.
email us a video with the
Right.
question. Because if it's a good question, we'll show it like we're about to.
LuZoProductions@gmail.com
Yes.
is the email.
Oh,
So-
thank you. Yes.
And here is the question.
Do you think if Tom Brady wasn't standing for the national anthem, would he get the same kind of backlash?
Okay.
All right. So that was a buddy of mine from back home on the East Coast. Sandeep. Shout out to Sandeep. So basically, just to recap his question, if Tom Brady sits down during the national anthem and protests, does he face the same kind of backlash that Colin Kaepernick has faced? It's an interesting question. Very, I think
Yeah.
I want to say yes, but maybe it's a different kind of backlash. I think the same people who come out with why they don't like Colin Kaepernick for it is that disrespectful to the military. You're getting paid a lot of money, and in fact, it may even make less sense for Tom Brady to do it, since what exactly would he be? It's like if he did it for the same reason, people might use the argument you don't even know because you're white.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I see a lot. I think there would be more extremes on both sides. I think people would come out in full support of him, saying, he's Tom Brady, he's raising an issue on a hot topic button, he's taking the stance, he's letting his personal legacy and whatever. This is what people would say. I don't believe this, but
Right.
would say he's taking a hit and a stand, and it's very a great thing. And I think that'd be a lot of Patriot fans,
Yeah.
and whatnot, ardent, defending him to the end. And it would be in relation, obviously, like with Deflategate, with his, the public perception on him so low, he's still doing this. And then I think on the other side, people will be like, this is Tom Brady, he's a jerk and a whatever and a this and a that, and he thinks he can do whatever he wants and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think it would be more, I think it would be more extreme.
Yeah.
I just think it would, because with Tom Brady, everything is a little more extreme.
So, you just asked, what would he be protesting against? I think we all know what Tom Brady would be in protest for. Deflategate.
Well, Brady is also
I want deflated
politically
footballs.
more conservative.
Yeah, for sure. It would actually be very surprising if he came out.
Exactly.
But like, for instance, say it's the same issue, and that's what
Sure.
he's protesting.
Right.
I actually also think you get a lot of people who would laugh at him and
Yeah.
they wouldn't take it seriously.
Really?
Like the same people who might be giving Colin Kaepernick a lot of backlash. I think there's at least some of those same people who, if Tom Brady did it, they would laugh at him.
Do you think it would even
know?
make it into this is done it's gone through major news networks, right? Like CNN.
It's been a big story.
BBC America, I think, even did a thing on it.
I think
Really?
it's getting
Yeah.
to be a big national type of story.
So
Everyone has an opinion on it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, we do. We just talked about it.
So I think
I was just more
I think
mild.
that's kind of it for
Yeah.
our thoughts on that. I
Yeah.
don't think there's much more to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with what he did. I just think there is a much better way to go about do it.
Right.
If you truly want to raise awareness.
Right. That being said, I think a lot of the backlash that he's facing is whether he deserves it or not. It is his right, and
Yes.
kind of as we already said, the way he did it, it's taking attention away from the very issue he's trying to raise. So, maybe next time write something for the Players Tribune. Tribune. Thank you.
The tribunal.
The Tribune.
Speaking of tribunals and things that are kind of strange, Tony Romo, Dallas Cowboys quarterback.
He cannot catch a break.
The guy can't catch a break.
Actually, he can catch a break.
Because
Or-
he
or three.
broke a bone in his back.
It's a small bone, too.
Whoa!
A small bone in his
back stuff is serious
And so this
and
is
painful.
this is
okay.
Thank you.
it's interesting because he hurt his back in week 2 of the preseason, wanted to come back in. The coaching staff kept him out, and then in week 3 of the preseason against the Seahawks, got hit again in the back, broke a small bone, is out 6 to 10 weeks.
So that's like the whole season, isn't it?
No, he's going to miss about half the season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Around.
And the problem with that is, so the same thing, Tony Romo's had collarbone problems. He broke his collarbone twice last year, early in the season, and then again on Thanksgiving.
Too much turkey.
Whoops.
He's been very injury prone these last few years. And the Cowboys are great. They're a great team with him. They're playoff caliber in the hunt, and without him, they are pretty much one of the, if not the worst team in the NFL. So
Ouch. The worst team in the
So-
NFL?
one of
So
okay.
what?
they
so
went 1-11
so,
last year without him.
Yeah.
so him getting injured doesn't mean really anything to the team then.
It does. They're going to be really bad.
Without him. Gotcha.
Without him.
Gotcha.
But there's a savior.
There's a quote-unquote savior, the rookie quarterback, Dak Prescott, who has looked amazing in preseason. A preseason hero, you would say, which is not good because every preseason hero generally ends up
Flames
disappointing because it's the preseason.
Right.
This isn't the regular season. There are no exotic defensive game plans against this guy.
Yeah.
So, okay, he can throw the ball and get it to his receivers and play basic football. That's good. Well,
Hopefully, if you made it to this point, you can do that.
yeah, I mean, if the Cowboys are smart, which with Jerry Jones they're not, but
Yeah.
if they are, they have to explore other options. You can't even if you have Dak playing the first few games, you need a backup option, and you don't have one.
Was he the only other quarterback on the roster?
Kellen Moore, I think. But maybe Kellen Moore was their backup. He got hurt as well. So they've had a lot of injuries at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny, we're speaking of Colin Kaepernick. He could get cut in the next few days by the 49ers anyway because he hasn't played very well.
Right.
But, I mean, with the...
Chip Kelly just said that would be a football decision, not
Yes.
based on his comments. Or his, protest.
With all that, would the Cowboys be interested in a guy like Kaepernick who is...
That seems like a Jerry Jones type of guy, but you don't think him going to Texas, would... I feel like a lot of the backlash Colin Kaepernick might be facing, I feel like Texans are probably maybe more of the stronger type of,
the team to get through that. I'm just thinking from a pure football standpoint, though. I mean, Kaepernick is ultra athletic. He has a good arm. I mean, he has great arm strength. His touch isn't always there. His decision making isn't the best. But I mean, you have Des Bryant there. You have some offensive pieces. You have a good running game. You have a good offensive line. I just feel like it could be a good fit. If you could learn the playbook and whatnot.
Right.
But
Well, maybe this, obviously we're knocking this rookie, But
Dak.
I mean, yeah.
Some people
you know,
love Dak. Some people think he's the real deal.
Yeah. I mean,
whatnot,
you know, I mean,
That's going to be
there's plenty of quarterbacks that come out of nowhere.
Right, that's
and
going to
they
be the
surprise.
Yeah, speaking of quarterbacks that come out of nowhere and surprise, the Denver Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champions, have named their quarterback, and it is, drum roll please, producer, play the drum roll sound. Trevor Siemian.
So my first reaction to that is, who?
Ravi, care to explain?
Yeah,
Trevor Siemian?
That's the correct
I
response.
know you're a big fan.
That's the correct response.
Yes, Trevor. He's a great guy. He's really classy. He's a classy guy. He's a guy.
So Trevor Siemian
Sounds like a villain, actually.
he kind of is. He has had
What?
No, he's not.
He's a classy guy.
He's classy.
Classy.
So
He's British, so
The
he's a
Denver
villain.
Broncos are the defending Super Bowl champions. Trevor Siemian was the third string quarterback for the Broncos last year. He was drafted in the 7th round in 2015. He has one snap to his name, which was a kneel down, I think in week 14 or 15 for the
It's
Broncos.
not even a real snap.
It was a kneel down. But according to Kubiak and the Broncos, the team that did just win the Super Bowl with a banged up Peyton Manning and an average Brock Osweiler leading this team. He's looked good. He's looked decent in the preseason. A lot of people assumed this was going to be either Mark Sanchez, because the guy
He's a great guy.
was decent 5 years ago,
Oh my god.
or
Mark Sanchez.
Paxton Lynch, the quarterback they took in the first round of this previous draft. Obviously Paxton is probably, you would assume would be the guy in the future.
You would hope so. You invested a first round pick.
Yeah, and so Siemian is a placeholder at this point, and
Why not just go with? Well, I guess you have enough talent. Well, I guess the team is talented enough where you probably don't want to go through the growing pains with a rookie quarterback.
yeah, you feel like you can compete if you're the Broncos, at least. Yes, you've lost some defensive pieces. You've lost the leadership of Peyton Manning and the Brock Osweiler, the guy who was supposed to be. But you've invested in Paxton Lynch. You don't want to just write off the season.
Yeah.
If Siemian can be decent for you, if he can be a 60%, passer, 85, 90 quarterback rating, doesn't turn the ball over too much. I mean, you can hand the ball off and let your defense win, kind of what they did last year,
Yeah.
and make a couple.
You're probably a
throws.
playoff team again.
So I mean, if Kubiak thinks that Siemian can kind of run the offense that he wants, I mean, then who are we to judge? They did just win a Super Bowl, so
Okay, so you give benefit of the doubt.
yeah.
To,
It's just interesting that this guy really no one's heard of is now the starting quarterback for the defending Super Bowl champions.
I mean, his competition was Mark Sanchez, I guess. So.
Yeah. I mean, what, the week 1 matchup is Broncos-Panthers, Super Bowl rematch. Trevor Siemian versus Cam Newton. Has the nice ring to it. So,
Interesting. Make the poster.
it's being made. And then finally, New England Patriot related headline. So Brian Stork, the starting center from the Patriots in Super Bowl 49, 4th round pick out of 2014, was traded to the Washington Redskins. But as of today, Monday, August 29th, the trade was nullified. He failed his physical and is coming back to the Patriots. The Patriots will just cut him.
Yeah. Interesting.
But Stork allegedly, after he was blindsided by the trade, was considering retirement anyway. I've got to think that getting cut by the Redskins, or not working out with the Redskins and that whole roller coaster, I just don't see him. I think he's kind of done. He's also had 4 concussions in 4 years.
Yeah.
So I think there's a health concern. He also, in his 2+ seasons with the Patriots, was known a little bit as a hothead.
Really?
Yeah. So he actually got into a fight in joint practices with the Bears. He tried to swing wildly at one of the linebackers for the Bears.
Nice.
In the AFC Championship game last year, he pushed somebody and got a 15-yard personal foul. He's gotten a few of those in his career. And they have David Andrews, the undrafted guy from 2015, who played the first 10 weeks. It was good.
Yeah.
He's not spectacular.
So he played during that time when they were rotating 9 guys on the line?
Because Stork started last year on the short-term IR because of concussions.
Yeah.
And then Stork started the second half of the season. So I guess we'll see. I mean, we'll see if Andrews works out. I like Andrews. He reminds me a lot of kind of his playing style. A tough, blue collar type of guy with lunch pail mentality and whatnot, which is kind of I guess what you want for an offensive lineman. And then final bit of news that kind of goes with it: Terrence Knighton, the defensive tackle, well known as Pot Roast.
What a great nickname.
Played for the Broncos, was a big part of their Super Bowl 48 squad that lost to the Seattle Seahawks. Also from, I believe, Connecticut or Massachusetts, grew up as a New England fan, was part of, big Celtics fan, was trying to recruit Kevin Durant here. First off, he did not play at all week 3, which is kind of an ominous sign for a player who's trying to make the roster, and then was cut today. Allegedly because he was not a two-technique defensive tackle, where you have to get your hands kind of in the breastplate of the offensive lineman.
So that's called two technique.
Two gap, basically.
Two gap. Okay, interesting.
So he wasn't able to. He'd never played that before.
Yeah.
And the fit just didn't. The Patriots assumed that he might be able to make the fit and didn't work.
What's
They kinda cut it-
so if you have
cut him
two
out.
technique, what's some other variations for D tackles? Or defensive
I think
tackles.
I think you have 1, 0. It's kind of where you line up on the gap. There are some good charts you can see. So I think the two gap is, so when they call it the two gap, it's where you're lining up in relation to the offensive line. So I think two gap is across from the offensive line. 0 would be across from the center. 5 would be on the right shoulder of the right tackle. The outside shoulders of the tackles. 7 would be a complete person,
Gotcha.
a seven technique D end or whatnot. I think.
Yeah.
Vaguely, I'm not a scout.
Yeah.
I'm a.
Wait, you're not a scout?
Not yet.
What are you doing here?
Exactly. Speaking of scouts and Patriots and looking at different Patriot things, we have another fan question about Tom Brady, actually, which is going to transition us nicely to some more Patriots talk. So, Producer Ravi, if you want to roll the question.
I can do that?
You can.
Yes,
you have
you
the
can.
power.
Wow.
You did it the first time.
That's pretty amazing.
Hey, yes, you can.
I was wondering what you guys thought about what Tom could potentially be hiding under his hat. I noticed the distance between here and here is pretty close to the distance between here and here. And it could just be the camera angle. It could also be something else that he might be trying to hide, but also simultaneously show to the public. Just let me know what you think about that. Thanks.
That's from our number one fan,
Dan.
Dan.
Dan from back Massachusetts.
Yeah.
He brings up a great point.
Does he?
Because
Yeah. I don't know.
there is a lot under that hat.
I think
I'm going to say,
Yeah, a lot of brains.
I think he's put the first 4 weeks playbooks underneath the hat. So when he's
Interesting.
suspended, he has them. So he's just hiding them right under his hat. It's
So,
I'm part of the team, guys.
you know what?
Tom Brady.
Honestly, you know what I think it is that he's hiding up there?
a new haircut.
A deflated football.
Hey, that was mine. You stole it. That was gonna be mine.
Christian, why
Clearly,
you
it's a deflated football.
maybe
I
or
just said that.
Because when he comes back week 4, it'll be just
week 5.
there.
Week 5 against the
Week
Cleveland
5,
Browns.
against the Browns because he's gonna need it.
Right, because clearly that's the only way Tom Brady can win a Super Bowl. Is a
Yeah,
deflated
exactly.
ball.
He won 4 Super Bowls.
Except the ball wasn't deflated in the
hey,
Super Bowl.
Hey, Arjuna's eyes are getting red like Dark Side. Uh-oh.
Hopefully, our
He's
viewers
gonna zap
know
us.
we are being completely. Well, at least me and Arjuna are being completely. Well, I'm being completely sarcastic.
We're all being sarcastic.
Nope, Ravi believes Tom Brady.
Actually, you know what is funny
Batman.
though? I've always found this funny. Tom Brady has his own.
Wait. I thought we all agreed the balls were deflated.
Rabbit, we can pull up the audio and the video of where you said Deflategate and the argument against it makes my blood boil.
Wait, Ravi said that?
Yes,
did.
I did.
He
Yes,
did.
I did.
He said that,
Oh,
that they
I
said
vaguely
that-
remember.
You know what you should do,
Anyway.
right? This would be a great point where you should replay
Flashback.
that. Flashback, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, right?
All right,
The
let's
power of
pause,
editing.
Let's pause for a second.
Yep.
I can still get my blood boiled over Deflategate.
Oh, really?
My blood is boiling.
And that was the flashback.
That's probably enough time, yeah, for that audio. Yeah. If we could pull that, that'd be sweet.
I could try and find it for
Yeah.
sure, but
We're a little bit younger
We were.
in that clip.
5 weeks younger.
5 weeks
like-
younger.
5 weeks younger. So.
That's wrinkles.
You were still 20,
I was still 23 at the time.
23 at the time, yeah.
Like 18 or
But
something.
let's get that transitions us beautifully, as we are now in the 4th week of the preseason and a few days away of getting to the regular season, which means it's roster projection season. We get to project who's going to make the roster, who's not.
You have some very interesting projections, my
So,
friend.
thank you. We are friends, aren't we?
No.
What about me, guys?
No.
Wait, Tom Brady's suspended?
So the roster cut down is happening. It gets cut down to 75 on August 30th, which is the day this show will be posted early tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Filmed Monday, August 29th. And then the 53 countdown is September 3rd, which I believe is the Saturday.
Okay.
It was when the final 53-man roster. Now, roster projections are almost meaningless because the first 53 for almost every team changes as teams cut other players and teams claim on other players and make different roster transactions and whatnot, make trades. I mean, Richard Seymour, I'm pretty sure, made the initial 53-man roster for the Patriots back in 2009.
He was gone.
And then he was gone.
Yeah.
He was traded to the Raiders.
Pretty
So
quickly.
let's just go right through it. Quarterback, I have 2. Tom Brady is suspended the first 4 weeks. That means he does not count for the
That's good
on the
to know.
53-man for those first 4 weeks. So they'll just probably carry 2: Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett. The only way I see that kind of changing is if a guy who's been in the system before, a Brian Hoyer, a Ryan Mallett, are kind of out there and they're not sold perhaps 100% that if Garoppolo for some reason gets hurt, Brissett can come in and play. I see them maybe carrying one of those.
Is there
veterans for a few
anything in the
weeks.
preseason that makes you think, though, Brissett couldn't?
No,
he looked good the last
Brissett.
last
So
game.
Brissett's looked great. I
Yeah.
mean, so some of the irrational Patriot fans think Brissett should start over Garoppolo. I mean,
No.
in Friday's preseason game, he went 9 for 9 for 85 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, against
Pretty
fourth
perfect.
stringers, fifth stringers.
Second and third stringers. You know,
Okay.
against
All right.
against the Panthers, who were 15-1 last year. You know, a good team and whatnot. So Brissett's looked good.
Decent.
You know, he's looked good in the in the preseason.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the preseason though.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty standard. I think that's essentially what everybody kind of projects to happen. You know, Belichick has consistently said Garoppolo's starting these 4 weeks. I don't see that changing unless he gets hurt or is so bad in those. He's Tim Tebow-esque in those 4 weeks. You know, 47% completed passes and quarterback ratings in the
that would be
single
bad.
digits.
That would be bad.
So let's get to running back.
So actually, real quick, I'm
Sure.
surprised you put this many down.
So the reason I do it is because the reason I've put this many running backs is because I actually think this is the Patriots' weakest position. So I think it will be a rotation. So I actually put 6 running backs, technically 5, and then the fullback, James Devlin. So we can start James Devlin, LeGarrette Blount. You know, he's looked good in the preseason. Some thought was his roster spot in jeopardy. He slowed down last year. He wasn't as good.
Was it 29?
Yeah, and then he got hurt. He also
Yeah.
got hurt.
Yeah.
Then Brandon Bolden, who's feels like he's been with the Patriots forever now, and he might actually be one of the longer tenured Patriots out there.
Yeah,
You know,
seriously.
a big one of the big special teams guys. But you know, he's been he's also played running back and been a backup, and he's shown some spurts, and you know,
He's a
shown
great
some
backup.
promise. He is. He really is. He can come in and he can make plays without kind of having to play a whole bunch of snaps.
Right.
So he's a valuable guy. James White.
White.
Will probably be the third down back as Deion Lewis will, and we'll get to that later, will start on the PUP, the physically unable to perform list.
And White's
as he
looked good
goes.
this preseason, right?
Yeah, and he looked good last year in spurts. You know, he's a good passing back. He really can't run though. That's his problem.
Yikes.
When you traditionally try to give him in like a shotgun third down draw situation, he gets swallowed up and can't do a lot. And then I think 2 guys that have interested me, Tyler Gaffney, the running back who's been on the IR the last 2 years. I think he was like a 6th or 7th round pick in 2014. Is a power back, so he kind of be a backup to Blunt. But I think he's good enough, and I think I can see Blunt and Gaffney kind of splitting carries depending on the situation. He's younger. He's it's funny to say to a guy who's been on IR the last 2 years, but probably a little less injury prone than Blunt, who's older, at right on the about to decline quickly on the running back.
Nosedive, yeah.
You know, and some would already argue he has. And then you have DJ Foster, an undrafted rookie free agent, I believe, from this year, is in more of the smaller passing back. He played a little bit this past Friday in the Patriots-Panthers game and also looked good. And I don't think White has such a hold on that roster spot that Foster can't come in and produce. So I think running back is one of, so I have 6 here. I think the only real locks of those 6 are Bolden and Devlin, to be honest.
Interesting.
I don't even think Blunt is a true lock. He might be for the first 3 weeks, but I could see if he underperforms in the first couple weeks,
They just
he
kind of let
gets
him go,
cut.
huh?
And I'm sure the Patriots, have been scouring the trade, the trade block and probably going to scour the waivers for running backs. There are some teams that have a bit of a surplus.
At running back.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys a little bit. So some good backs who could get cut from there who could probably come in for the Patriots and supplant all these guys, to be honest.
Wow.
Because this is their weakest group. This is essentially the same group from last year that was 30th in rushing. A year old.
Once Dion Lewis went down,
Yeah.
for the most part.
And you still won't have Dion Lewis until halfway through the year. And you won't know coming off a torn ACL how good. And the guy who really had to be explosive, that was his best thing.
Yeah.
You don't know how good he's going to be. So that is the biggest question mark to me at running back. Let's move on to tight end.
Probably our strongest position.
One of the strongest. I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Rob Gronkowski is obviously going to make the roster.
What?
And Martellus Bennett. Gronk hasn't played in the preseason, of course. He hasn't played it since 2012. Don't see him getting any snaps on Thursday either against the Giants. And Bennett has looked. He's looked good.
Yeah.
He definitely has looked good, and I think Gronk and Bennett can do a lot of things with this team. Having them both out on the field, and that's going to be a big help. To Garoppolo in those first 4 weeks. And then a guy that's impressed a lot of people, A.J. Derby, the tight end they drafted in 2015, has made a lot of big catches. Had a notable drop with Brady out last Friday, so I don't think that's going to hurt him, though. He's shown more than Clay Harbor has. Neither Derby or Harbor are great blockers, so I think Derby's pretty much got this.
Yeah.
Moving on to wide receiver, I only have 4.
Yeah.
4 pure
That blows my mind. But
4 pure wide receivers, and the reason being, I have Danny Amendola starting on the pup.
Right.
I think it was announced. Maybe I'm wrong about. No, that was a different player, but he still has yet to practice. We have 1 week left. I just see Belichick as the type of guy as, even if he started practicing today, it's going to take him weeks to get into football shape.
Probably a month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's still, even when you come off the pup, you're still rehabbing.
Right.
So, an estimate of he's ready by week 3 or 4. Hold him for an extra 2 weeks. We save a roster spot for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you have those reinforcements later in the year, and you become a better team, harder to game plan for, and all that type of stuff. So, I don't have Danny Amendola. I have Julian Edelman, of course, and Chris Hogan, the receiver from the Buffalo Bills, and Malcolm Mitchell, the 4th-round pick who looked good in the first week. He might not be ready to go week 1, which is why they might keep, and they probably will keep a 5th receiver like an Aaron Dobson or one of the other names I kind of have on the practice squad. And then I also have Keyshawn Martin, who's been kind of injured this preseason, but he was a reliable, 3rd option that kind of took over for Brandon LaFell last year, who supplanted him, after LaFell kind of came back from the injury.
LaFell was just never the same.
And LaFell kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And
Keyshawn's going to be the primary punt returner? Kick returner?
No, so he'll probably... I'm guessing he'll probably be the kickoff returner.
Okay.
Like he was last year, and then Cyrus Jones, the rookie, will be the punt returner. I don't... there's no reason to give that to Edelman or Amendola.
Yeah.
They're both great, but they're more important to your offense than special teams. Yeah. So moving... I think... Unless you have anything else to kind of add to that this could also be a position where there's a trade that happens, because the bottom of the depth chart, it was funny because we talked about how Belichick called this one of the deepest spots.
Yeah, and now there's only 4 on here. Well, according to your estimates.
Well, I think some of the guys, I have later on in the practice squad. I put 3 wide receivers on the practice squad, and I could see 1 or 2 of those guys really making it because they've played well. And whatnot. But we'll see. And especially if they're running more 2 tight ends, 2 tight end sets, you don't need as many wide receivers.
Right.
So
that's true. Maybe 3 tight end sets.
If Derby's good enough,
do it.
So moving on to offensive line, I only have 8.
Only 8.
So, but I mean that's the norm. It's between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
I have the starters, from left to right. Nate Solder at left tackle, Joe Tooney, the rookie at left guard.
He looks really good, huh?
He's looked good. He's basically taken the spot and hasn't let it go.
Yeah.
And he could. I mean, he might never give it up at this point.
Good. So, that's what we want.
David Andrews at center, as we talked about earlier, with Stork being traded. Josh Klein at right guard, played there some last year, and Marcus Cannon at right tackle with Sebastian Vollmer going on IR. And then I have the backups, the 6th-round pick, Ted Karras. I'm not sure how you say his last name. Has looked good in the guard spots. I think he can play some backup center. Ladrian Waddle, the backup tackle who had some spot duty last year. I think he had some spot starts when both Solder and Vollmer were out. And Shaq Mason. I put Shaq Mason here and not on IR as a short-term IR candidate because even though he has a broken hand, he might be able to come back a little sooner. Especially as a guard, you don't need. It's not like tackle where you truly need your hands.
Right.
You really need that lower body and torque, and a club would be hard to grip. But I think if you can, depending on where the break is in the hand, as it's been reported, if it's not by the fingers and it's maybe if it's somewhere where you can still grip and it's really just a pain management type of thing, he could come back theoretically sooner.
And they kind of need linemen.
Yeah, they do, and that's the thing. They have a lot of injured linemen. Trey Jackson was just announced today as starting the year on the PUP. Jonathan Cooper hasn't practiced in a month. The guard they traded for, who was going to start at one of the guard positions. Sebastian Vollmer is already on injured reserve. They traded away Brian Stork. So
it's insane. It's like the bad luck of the second half of last year. What happened with the line is just kind of continuing into this year.
It's kind of best that's happened early because it's really narrowed the competition down. Where we know our 5 starters. These are going to be the 5 starters throughout the year. The only way I see it changing is if Klein or Tooney really struggle and Cooper's able to come back and gets a starting
or the
role.
Inevitable injuries.
Of course.
As probably have to rotate through all these guys.
This is I'm confident with the starting 5 and probably Karras and Waddle. After that, though, there could be 8 or 9 guys because of the injury concerns. What happened with Mason, I don't know. Could Jonathan Cooper start on... I have Cooper starting on the short-term IR. So
is this a better group than last year?
I would say so. There's more depth. The 2 rookies, Mason and Jackson, have another year. They're both injured right now. And in theory, if they were both healthy, would be the starters. So, Tooney and Klein are kind of your 3s and 4s right now. But I think it's better.
Yeah.
And I think Marcus Cannon, this might be an unpopular opinion, I think Marcus Cannon in 2016 is probably a better option at right tackle than Sebastian Vollmer.
Wow.
Just because I think Cannon's his best position has always been right tackle. They've moved him to a bunch of different spots, and that's always kind of messed with him.
Yeah.
And Vollmer's play has really slipped the last couple of years, getting older, injury concerns, and whatnot. So
he's lost a step,
right.
For sure.
And then with Nate Solder coming back is a huge a boon. I know he hasn't looked great right now because he's coming off the injury, but Solder is a good tackle. He's gone through a lot these last few years with the testicular cancer. And then I know he has a son who's battling through some health complications right now, but he's a guy who kind of is the leader of that offensive line, and he's the left tackle they drafted to replace Matt Light, and he's done that. So it'll be nice to have him back as well. That's when you look at all the injuries that happened last year, that's the one that probably doomed you the most after you lost Nate Solder, because your tackle depth chart was a mess.
Right
After that.
Yeah.
So moving on, so that's offense. We'll move on to defensive tackle. After the cut of Terrence Knighton, it kind of became pretty easy. Just 4 guys. So you have the the big-bodied guys of Malcolm Brown, the first-round pick from last year. This guy could already be a top 15 player on the Patriots, and he is a young leader. He reminds a lot of people of Vince Wilfork type.
Nice.
So that's a good guy. Alan Branch, who's coming off the team-imposed suspension.
What was that for?
No one knows. Belichick hasn't said. He said he's not going to say. He was suspended for a week. He's back now. Him and Brown are a good duo. They're the big-bodied guys you want. Vincent Valentine is a draft pick from the Patriots this year. He's looked good in spurts. Another big-body type of guy. And then Anthony Johnson, we talked about him last week, the smaller defensive tackle, who can come in for the sub packages and whatnot.
To specifically what? Pass rushing.
Kind of a pass rush specialist.
Yeah, those are great guys to have. I feel like a defense that has that is automatically going to be so much harder to throw in on third down.
Definitely.
Because you have pass rushers from everywhere then.
Right.
Yeah.
At the end, Rob Ninkovich, I know he has the torn pectoral, but he's been practicing. I could see him just being on the roster and then just an inactive for the first few weeks as he makes his way back. Jabal Sheard, there's not much. I know he dealt with a minor ailment, but he's back practicing. He'll be ready week 1.
No brainer.
Chris Long, at the end they signed from the Rams. Has looked good in preseason action with Ninkovich out. Probably the starter. Shea McClellan, the D-end linebacker they signed from the Bears. He hasn't practiced a lot, so this could be a situation where he is on the IR or the PUP or something like that. We'll see. Barkevious Mingo.
By the way, Barkevious Mingo, that is my vote for the best name on the roster.
Agreed. I actually talked to Mom today about Mom's always obsessed with NFL names.
Really?
Yeah. When the Patriots signed Jonathan Fanene, the defensive tackle, Mom demanded we get her a jersey. However, he never played for the Patriots because of the injury, and he actually didn't play in the NFL again. So Barkevious Mingo, the D-end, the freakish D-end they traded for from the Browns. He hasn't played for the Patriots yet. We don't know what he has, but I imagine he'll be there to start, and then it'll kind of go from there. And then the second-year D-end that everyone is raving about, Trey Flowers, has looked good.
It sounds like this is a really deep
This is a good
D-end,
This is a good group. And I have another D-end actually making it, but I listed him under special teams, Geno Grissom, as he really plays more special teams than actual defense. That's his listed position, but he plays a lot of special teams. Linebacker, one of another shallow kind of position for the Patriots. Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, no-brainers. Jonathan Freeney, who played for the Patriots last year and was kind of solid as their backup/third linebacker. They actually just recently signed him to a 2-year extension, so he'll be there. And then Camus Grugier-Hill.
Oh, that's a great name too.
He's looked good. He's dealt with some injuries right now, but I think he was a draft pick of the Patriots and could develop into like a really good third backup type of role. At corner, no-brainer, Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan, will be the starters. Cyrus Jones, the second-round pick, has looked good as a punt returner in that. Justin Coleman was kind of the third and fourth guy last year. He'll come back, and then kind of to round out that cornerback group, Crayvon LeBlanc, the undrafted guy who had the amazing one-handed interception.
Yeah.
I think is the guy who's shown the most potential to go in there and play. I think he plays a little bit of special teams, which is always a big at the end of that the roster. So he'll be there. Safety. This is the easiest group. This is I would be shocked if this isn't this has been the group the last 3 years. Well, 2 because Richards was a rookie last year. But Devin McCourty, Patrick Chung, your starters. Deron Harmon comes in as a third safety, can play well in that deep third of the part. Jordan Richards, is kind of the backup to Patrick Chung, is that physical on the line type of safety, and then Nate Ebner, the U.S. rugby Olympian, will be back as a special teams ace. And then speaking of special teams,
actually, a real quick question
Sure.
on Nate Ebner.
Yeah.
The Olympic duty, is he going to be ready to go week 1?
That's a good question. He might start the year. I don't know if the NFL will grant a roster exemption. They have done things like that in the past for players that have been trying out for a different sport or different circumstances. He's been back with the team for about a week and a half, and I know he's trying to bulk up a little bit. But I mean, you have another week plus to go. I have a feeling he'll be ready though.
Cool.
I don't think it's going to be too drastic of a transition.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then let's end with special teams. Gostowski's going to be a kicker. Ryan Allen will be the punter. Joe Cardona will be the long snapper. I listed Matthew Slater here. He's a wide receiver, but he plays on all 4 special teams. The safety, Brandon King, is another 4-team special team type of guy, and Genio Grisham, who I mentioned earlier. And you can obviously put Nate Ebner there, and you can put Nate Ebner in that list too. So that's it. That's my 53-man roster projection. I project Trey Jackson, Amendola, and Lewis on the PUP. Tom Brady will be suspended.
Nice.
That's it.
I like it.
That's kind of what I think is going to happen.
I like it a lot. I like that you went heavy on running back. I like that you went heavy on D-end. D-end, I'm a huge fan of a lot of defensive ends, mostly because of the Giants' Super Bowl teams.
The NASCAR packages.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. I don't know if you said it during the cast, but versatile D ends who can drop back into coverage in a pinch in certain formations and whatnot. I just like having a lot of D ends. I really do.
Especially that group too. Like Barkevius Mingo is such an athletic freak.
Yeah.
And then
that'll be exciting.
Ninkovich has played linebacker before. There's just a lot of
how would Mingo rate athletically? Would you say to let's say
Jamie Collins?
If you want to go with someone current on the roster, or even like a
I mean, no one's as athletic
Javon Curse back in the day.
Or no one's as athletic as a Jamie Collins, but
because he's a freak.
Yeah, but I think Mingo is kind of close. So, yeah. So
cool.
That's the Patriots. That we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Let's quickly get to Red Sox.
They've
kind of been. No one really knows. Have they been slumping? Have they been surging? They've had some. They had a 3.
They started off the road trip well.
They started off well, then they had a 3-game losing streak. Then they've won a couple games. I know they're winning right now tonight. But I think what's concerning is their offense has been slumping a little bit.
Right, 2 guys specifically. Right?
Specifically, 2 guys who have been key parts of your lineup. Jackie Bradley Jr. This isn't surprising. Has been really slumping since the All-Star break, hitting around 220. And then Xander Bogaerts in August. He's kind of turned it around the last couple nights, but he's been hitting at or below 200 for most of August.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot of holes in that swing. Having said that, Ortiz has reached 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. Mookie Betts has hit 30 home runs. Those guys are surging right now.
Yeah.
Pedroia had the 11 consecutive hits, and the pitching's improving. David Price is under a 4 ERA.
Yeah.
Clay Buchholz has pitched well.
Yeah, where did that come from?
He's had
I had Buckles buried.
Everyone did.
And off the roster in a month.
Every Red Sox beat writer had Clay Buchholz off the roster by the trade deadline.
Yeah, exactly.
And the guy's been a key part of your bullpen.
Yeah.
And being a spot starter for the injuries to Stephen Wright and Eduardo Rodriguez.
It'll be a sweet, sweet story if Red Sox make the postseason and he is starting
one of those World Series games.
Well, I was going to say a postseason game.
Let's go all the way. We're Boston fans.
We're not even sure we're in the postseason yet.
Exactly.
And so.
My question is, is this team slumping or surging? Is this concern for making that push in September, and if they make the postseason, what do you think this is?
I think it's okay. There are more positives than negatives. The pitching had to improve. It had to, more so than anything else on the team, for not only to make the postseason, but to even have any kind of run. Where you can't win in the postseason without pitching.
For sure.
The reason I'm okay with it is because, first of all, Xander and Jackie Bradley Jr., they're both young. At some point, it's 162 games. There are ups and there are downs. I would like them to be slumping now so they have September to figure it out and hopefully get that swing worked out before October. But I think the positives outweigh the negatives.
Yeah, I'm happy the pitching is working itself out because I think that's more of a concern. I think there's enough good hitters on the offense where you're going to score the runs when you need to and it counts. I don't see this offense having any elongated slump.
Right.
Always the concern in the postseason is you have a slump, but that's what happens. It's a series.
And
You
the
don't know what's gonna
postseason
happen.
is different. Right? Run scoring goes down.
Way down.
I think we've seen enough from Jackie and Xander this year. They're both talented enough where
They
they're
can
going
get
to work it
timely
out. I
hitting, for
think.
sure.
We'll see. I mean, like I said, they are both young,
Right.
but I think they've got all of next month to figure it
Right.
out.
Well, next episode will be in September, so
Yeah, there we go.
we'll see how it goes. Speaking of how it goes, producer Ravi, we're at your favorite spot
Section. Ravi
Section.
asks.
to wrap the show.
I
Ravi
just
asks.
have one small tiny thing, which is.
I'll put up your title here.
Yeah, you gotta put your title up, right?
yeah. Oh,
I don't
oh,
know
this
what
is
we're
the
talking
section.
about.
This is the section.
Ravi
Real
asks.
quick, yeah. The last thing was an interesting little web series that came out from National.
National Treasure, Book of Secrets.
I think National Geographic sponsored it. It's actually with Jared Leto.
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 the Joker.
There's a little web series, 5-part web series where they celebrate America's national parks. He rock climbs.
Oh, cool.
He rock climbs, and he
Wow.
was. They actually have the videos. The series is called Great Wide Open, all over the internet, free to watch. And they go through the national parks like Yosemite and so forth. And he and I would assume some of his friends or acquaintances go rock climbing, which is pretty cool.
Also, him in the Suicide Squad.
No,
Yeah, not those friends.
bunch of hipsters,
That's really cool.
climbing hipsters.
So, is it the focus on the actual parks, like to kind of preview them, show like what's
Yeah,
unique
show
about
the
them?
parks, and then also show like the rock climbing routes and
That's
everything.
sweet. That's cool.
Because
That's
I mean, the
sweet.
big thing is, and you guys can attest to this. I mean, rock climbing is blowing up
Exploding.
right now. A lot of people are
Well,
interested.
yeah,
in
and to let the viewers know, Ravi is big, along with Sarah, big into rock climbing.
Yeah, how long have you
great
been doing that?
workout.
Like a year and a half?
About a year.
Yeah.
Oh, a year. Okay.
About a year now.
Yeah.
And and Christian and I have been a couple times.
Yeah, we've been a couple times.
Yeah.
After getting way more into it. It's funny actually. I think I was telling you guys about this over the weekend. If you look at what's his name?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
Jason
his
Momoa,
Instagram.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
been like
Who will be playing Aquaman and
yeah.
Justice
He's been traveling around with arguably the best rock climber ever, Chris Sharma. And I think they've been in Barcelona recently, and they just basically go to rock climbing gyms. They climb. A bunch of people come to watch them and hang out, and then they drink beer afterward. It's
Sounds like the best life.
like really interesting Instagram posts on.
that's
on
the
that
dream.
stuff.
That is the dream.
So-
I'm close to it. I have a beard now,
Oh yeah, you're getting there.
You've had a beard since you were like 12.
and I rock climb.
It's like 7.
Oh,
Let's be
okay.
honest. No.
The only other piece that I have is it's not really sport. Well, I guess it is kind of sportsy stuff. Fitbit has come out with a whole new line, Fitbit 2 upgrades.
Lost to New York.
Yeah, right. Lost in New York. So, which is kind of interesting. They're announcing all their new products just before Apple releases theirs. The reason I'm bringing it up, I had a question.
Sure.
Are Fitbit's fitness trackers, are they allowed in the NFL? And the reason I ask is because they're a great way to kind of see what the body or track what the body's going through at certain points.
So no, I don't think they're allowed to wear.
Any kind of like tracking soft stuff.
Not yet.
It probably
They
goes
have-
against code, right?
The NFL certainly has
code.
incorporated some tracking software into different parts. So for the combine, the shirts that Under Armour provides has monitors like right here that get the heart rate and acceleration
pretty cool.
and all that type of stuff
Sure.
on the player. And then they've talked about having more stuff in the helmets for concussion.
To
test like concussion
test
impact.
concussions.
and
What about
whatnot.
like with like beyond just like tracking software and so forth? What about within the visor of a helmet, like augmented reality? So the idea is, you're Tom Brady and you're talking to your team. You could be verbally in your helmet giving voice commands that will show the play and
You have
so
the
forth.
playbook right in your visor.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of on an armband.
Right, and
Or
then
in
you're
your hand.
overlaying.
interesting.
And then you're overlaying that
Right.
in terms of like, so you're ex player and you're supposed to go. I guess in a way you could say it's cheating because you could use all of this kind of software and this information to be like, I need to be at this point at this time
Yeah.
in order to catch the ball. But that'd still be
I
kind
think-
of cool.
I feel like you're making it too easy for the players. Then you're taking out like their
Yes.
ability, their need to think.
Yes.
You know, I think it just dumbs it down a little
I
bit.
know
for
the
them.
NFL has also talked
is interesting,
about putting stuff in the football to kind of measure how hard and fast does a player throw it, and
So there's no more Deflategate.
Didn't you bring that up a couple
more
weeks ago?
Deflate.
Like a
Probably.
football that can be
Sarah
that can be tracked.
Sarah
brought it
on
up.
the LuZo cast.
Oh, that's right. Right. The football that
No, and Ravi Asks for the lateral
Yeah.
when Ravi was
Yeah.
That's
measures
right.
like the spin,
That's
the
right.
speed,
Power and all of that.
Yeah,
But
arc.
but at least I'm kind of shocked, I guess, that there isn't already a tracking.
I think there
type
is,
thing
So
to-
I think there is to some degree.
Yeah.
The NFL has next gen stats, and they kind of calculate all of its different stuff. And I'm sure they must use some type of tracking.
I would hope so
Software
because
system.
it seems like it's becoming increasingly readily
Right.
available.
I don't
so,
think they put it in every player. I think it's just probably
like your key players,
your
like
key players.
yeah, your
in games
QB
and
and
whatnot.
so forth.
So
Okay.
the big names.
Well, if the NFL's looking, Fitbit 2s are coming out.
no, they want Apple products.
If really Apple Watches, that's
totally
Hey,
sick.
whoever pays the
Clearly,
most money.
they don't.
right. Well,
right.
that's all I have.
So I think unless anyone else has anything else to say, I think.
Christian's still bald, so there's
I
that.
think that is it for the Lateral episode 6 for Krishna, Ravi, and myself,
I'm
Arjuna.
Krishna. That's not Krishna. That's not Krishna.
How do you know?
This is Krishna. Sorry. Yeah. Anyways.
So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to LuZo Productions on YouTube. Please follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram.
Send us video questions.
On Vine, please send us video questions.
Those are fun.
Please subscribe to the audio podcast on iTunes and all that type of stuff. And for all of us, enjoy, and we will see you next week.
Next week. Goodbye.
See you later.